everyone, thanks so much for being here. I'm instructor Dwayne Jenkins. Welcome to Dwayne's Guitar Lessons. In today's video we are doing our final pattern, pattern 5 of the pentatonic scales. And if you're looking at learning about the pentatonic scales and how to get the most of them, how to work with them along your fretboard, stick around and I'll show you pattern 5. Alright, so in the last few videos I've shown you the other four patterns. There's 5 pentatonic patterns. I highly recommend you learn those because they're going to span the whole fretboard, okay? Pattern I showed you to in the G, the key of G minor here. The pattern 1 would be here at the 3rd fret. Pattern 2 would be here at the 6th fret. Pattern 3 would be here at the 8th fret. Pattern 4 right here at the 10th fret. And we now come back to, we are now at pattern 5, the final frontier of the patterns, and it is right here where pattern 4 leaves off at the 13th fret. And this pattern right here is going to be in the key of G minor, would be 13, 15, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15. Going back, 15, 13, 15, 13, 15, 12, 15, 12, 15, 13, 15, 13. I like this one because it's a really nice, easy pattern to remember. And it leads us back to pattern 1. See, so you can tell the G is right here and it's also right here. So basically, these 2 strings is a whole step, step and a half, and then 2 whole steps again. And like I said before, each pattern has its own character. So that's why you really want to work with each pattern like a day. If you were to work with each pattern in one day, you'd have all 5 patterns down in 5 days. And that's what you got to do, is work with each one to get the character out of it, to discover the character that's in each pattern, because each one of them has something a little different to offer. And although they're made up of the same 5 notes, the way they're configured along the fretboard gives them a little bit different character and offers you something a little bit different to get out of them. Like these 3 notes right here sound pretty cool in this pattern. That's a cool little lick, I like that. And like I mentioned before, once you get the pattern down, get it down and back up, down and back up, down and up, get it up really, really well, and then look at the interval between the other patterns back to the root. So you figure the G is right here at the 3rd fret. If we're playing pattern 5 here, starting on the G here in the higher octave, how do we get back from here to here, okay? So on one string, let's see, we're going to get from here back to here. On the 1st string, we have to know our intervals. So 15 back to 13, 13 back to 10 for the 4th pattern, and then 3rd pattern's a whole step, 2nd pattern's a whole step, 1st pattern step and a half. So now we just went from this G to this G on one string. And like I mentioned to you in the last video, that you can actually play a whole solo just on one string if you know those intervals, and you'll be able to stay in key real easy. Plus a good way to practice slides too. Hammer-ons and pull-offs. To jump from here to here. The first and the fourth pattern have a step and a half between the two notes, so if you know where those are located, you could jump from there to there. I'd recommend doing that on all 6 strings and master those intervals because they're different on each string. So you want to master what they are. And master also, if you're starting here, how do you get back to here on the 6th string? So if you're going, you know. So you can tell that's not the right note, it didn't sound right, it's here, this note. So by mastering that, mastering each one of those patterns and knowing that roadmap, you'll be able to stay in key. And like I said before in my last video, don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's how you train your ear. Okay? You train your ear by knowing where to play and where not to play. Sometimes when it's what you don't do is where you learn your most valuable lessons. And what's great about pattern 5 is it leads you right back to pattern 1 again. So if you're right here in pattern 5, you're right back to pattern 1 right here. That's one thing I like about pattern 5 is it's right next to pattern 1. And they interconnect really easy. And as long as you know like where those roots are as well, like I was mentioning to you before in some of those other videos, that really helps out as well too. To know where you're, you know, if you're playing say in G, there's a G here, and a G here, G here, G here, and G here. And practice those hammer-ons, those slides, pull-offs, bends, trills, vibrato. Because that's how you bring the notes to life. That's how you bring the scale to life. Practice some of your licks, you know. Hammer-ons, pull-offs, triplets. Know where your some of your double stops. And if you really master that scale, then you just master going back, and then you know, you pretty much got the whole fretboard right here. And also you can play it here if you're playing in G minor. The 5th fret would be, the 5th pattern, sorry, the 5th pattern would be right here. Now this do middle strings here, you wouldn't put your finger there because the nut is there, so you would just make those open. Play it here, and you can play it here. Pattern 1. So it's really easy to mix those two patterns together because they're right next to each other. Using the open notes right there as well, which is nice. 2, 3, 4, back to 5. Now we just went through all the 5 patterns, and you know, pattern 5 would be here because you could also play it here at the 1st fret and play it up here at the 13th fret. So now when you look at it, you span the whole fretboard right here, all the way from here to here, and then you're just starting all over again. Pattern 1 right here, in the higher, in the next octave. Pattern 2, then pattern 3. And of course you run out of fretboard, but if you had more fretboard, you could just play them indefinitely. That's what's great about these, is they span the whole fretboard, however long fretboard you have. I just have a 22 fret, but if you have a 24 fret, then you go a little bit further. But the main thing is to study these patterns, study these, create that roadmap, you know? And of course it doesn't come overnight, you gotta work with them daily. And master those intervals on each string. That's the main thing you want to do. And if you work on your personality traits, your hammer-ons, your pull-offs, your sides, your bends, your trills, then it just starts sounding like music, starts sounding like solos. And then if you decide later on to look at, learning some solos from some of your favorite artists, you'll see very clearly which one of these patterns they're using, because they use a lot of these patterns. Almost all the great guitar players, Page, Plant, Clapton, Beck, you name it, they all use these patterns, and you'll see it in their solos if you decide to learn them. You have to move from one octave to the next. As you can clearly see, you just span the whole fretboard. So all 5 of those patterns, you learn all 5 of those, should be set. And like I said, just incorporate them, and if you need some more assistance, I'd recommend you check out my books. How to play, this one here is How to Play Guitar Solos. This one's Lead Guitar Wizardry. This one here I have Volume 1 and Volume 2, so that teaches you a lot of stuff about how to get started playing lead guitar. If you need a little bit more of a visual effect, I show you how to read the tablature and show you the box patterns and really cool licks that you can play out of them and stuff, which we'll go over in some videos too. But the main thing is just getting these patterns down. I would work on just pattern 5 for today if you don't have it down yet. And then pattern 5 up here. So you start on G, you end on G, and you're right back to pattern 1 again. And I like it right here in the first pattern because it gives you a chance to use a couple open notes here off the D and the G string. And like I mentioned before too, what I would recommend is once you get it down, play it somewhere and then determine what key you're in. If you played pattern 5 right here at the 6th fret, what key are you in? And what's cool about pattern 5, I really like, is that you don't have to go back. You can just go forward because you know that pattern 5 is right next to pattern 1. And pattern 1 is the main key you're in. So if you're playing pattern 5 right here at the 6th fret, it's a no-brainer that we're in this key right here, the key of C minor. Because pattern 1 is right here at the 8th fret, which is a C. If you're playing pattern 5 right here at the 10th fret. It's a no-brainer that we're in the key of E minor because the pattern 1 is right next to it, right here at the 12th fret. That's what I really like about pattern 5 is it connects real easy with pattern 1. Those two real easy, and then you just have to go back for pattern 4. So if you're in the key of E minor right here at 12th fret, pattern 5 is right here at the 10th fret, pattern 4 is going to be right here at the 7th fret. work with either a metronome, a drum beat, or backing tracks. And you can create your own, or you can just pull them up on the internet, because once you have that beat, you know, something behind you to play over, because that's what you're doing, then it gives you a chance to kind of fuel your creativity, you know? And it helps you to just fuel your creativity, and you'll be able to hear. It helps train your ear to hear how these work over the chord progression, as long as you're in the right key. So make sure that you're in the right key, and like I mentioned before, knowing your notes is going to help you to really determine that. Unless you just want to play by ear, kind of figure it out by ear, that's fine too. But if you learn your notes on the 6th string right off the bat, you should learn your notes on all 6 strings, but the 6th string right off the bat, then you're going to know what key you're playing. If you're playing at the 3rd fret, that's the key of G minor. If you're playing at the 5th fret, that's A. 7th fret, B. 8th fret is C. 10th fret is D. 12th fret would be E minor. If you're playing at the 11th fret, that'd be E flat minor. If you're playing at the 6th fret, that would be B flat minor. If you're playing at the 2nd fret, that would be F sharp minor. So if you learn all those keys that I just mentioned right there, and you learn how to play these, you're going to be able to play anywhere. Anywhere you want to play, you're going to be able to do it. Okay? And remember, you have your relative major minor theory as well, too. So pattern 1, wherever pattern 1 starts, your relative major is going to be 3 frets up from that, and that's where your 2nd pattern starts. So that tells you that your 2nd pattern can also be as a major pattern. It can be used as position 1 for a major scale, and then pattern 1 can be used in the minor key. So minor key, pattern 1, and a major key, you can use pattern 2 in the first position, but they always are in the same order every single time. So that's the thing that you want to remember. If you master them, and make sure to always keep them in the same order. It makes it simple, makes it easy. You just have to put in the time to master them, and then you'll be set. All right, so that's our lesson for today. If you have any questions, let me know. Be sure to check out my books on Amazon if you need to. So put in the time, and you'll be set. All right, so have yourself a good one, and I'll see you at our next lesson.